All right, in this video, we're going to look at exporting Illustrator files for web. Okay, we're going to look at JPEGs and PNGs, doing full artboards and little individual things as well. All right, let's get started. First up, we've got a file open called Exporting Web AI, which is in your exercise files. We want to do two things, right? I've got this kind of artboard over here. So I've got two artboards. I'm going to click on my artboard tool. There's 1 and 2. So we're looking at two kind of versions of exporting. This one, I just want a big JPEG. Okay, I just want a JPEG that I can email or stick up on a website. And this one here, I want to export the individual pieces. So let's do this first one. Okay, there are two different techniques. So we're going to go to File, and we're going to go to Export, and we're going to go to this one that says Export As. Okay, Export As allows us to, down the bottom, okay, let's move it up a little bit. I'm going to put it in my desktop, my Illustrator files, and in here, I can pick a format. Okay, so PNG, JPEG is probably the best for this particular image because there's no transparency. Okay, it's just a nice flat rectangle, lots of colors. JPEG is perfect. I'm going to say use artboards. Without that, it just exports everything that you can see, which you might like. But I'm going to say use artboards. I'm going to say just a range of 1. Okay, just the first one. Click export. Now in an option here, okay, you can decide on the quality. Now have a look, like you want to be around the 10 to 8 mark, okay, but just look at the file size at the end. If it's huge, you're like, oh man, I'm gonna have to lower it down. And it's just a balancing act of file size versus the quality. Somewhere down here, it's gonna look pretty bad. Okay, so my advice is around about 8. Gives you kind of a nice balance between the two. Now, when it comes to resolution, this is also another balancing act. If it's going to print, which we're not trying to do here, it should be 300. If it's going to a traditional kind of screen or website, 72 will work. Okay, because screens are changing quite a bit, there's high res and retina and high DPI, there's some other things, you might kind of cut the middle and go 150. That's what I would typically do. Okay, so have a little look, see what you've got as a result. Okay, every usage is a little bit different. Click OK, kick back, relax, it'll make you a JPEG. So let's have a little look. And in my desktop, where are you? Desktop files, and where's my web? Okay, it's called it Web 01. Okay, and yeah, looks good. It's fine size. It's a really small file size. Okay, so that works for that. These guys are a different story. If I use that same method, I'll get this whole artboard, okay, and all of these guys together. I want them as separate icons, okay? I might have designed them for a website or for an iPhone app, okay, and I want them all to be separate. And what we do is we open up something called the window and we go to the assets export. This is really handy. Okay, I'm gonna move it over here. So what I'd like to do is, watch this, if I drag the owl in, there he is there. He's kind of like his own little individual asset. I can click on him, call him owl. Okay, same with the crown, easy peasy. Call them crown. Get the idea here. We're gonna run into a problem in a second. I'll show you what it is. Alien. Can't spell alien. Okay, it's this guy here. I'm gonna say all of you guys. I'm gonna drag them in, and whoa, we get kind of 4 parts. Okay, so I'm gonna undo that. And what happens is if they're not grouped, they assume that they're all separate objects. Okay, so this guy here is getting dragged in, and because they're not grouped, it's kind of exporting an eye, and that's the kind of middle bit of this like hood, and everything's separate. So you get the idea. So with them selected, we're going to go over here and go to group. Now if I drag him in, he's now just one old ninja. Cool. Now with them all selected, actually with them selected in here, okay, you can see it's blue. Click on him, blue, blue, blue. Okay, so now I was selecting lots of them by holding down the shift key. Okay, they all go blue. So I click on the first one, hold shift, click the last one, they're all selected. And I can decide what kind of format. Now you can export these as PDFs here, which is cool. But in our case, like a JPEG won't work for us because a JPEG will put in a background. We want a transparent background. Okay, so we're gonna go to PNG or SVG. SVG is kind of new, so talk to your web designer or app developer if they want SVGs. It's getting more and more popular, okay, but PNG is probably the most typical. Okay, so, but you might decide, actually, I'm not sure, I'm gonna send them both. Click on this thing that says add scale, and instead of scale, we're gonna say, actually, I just want an SVG as well. So you're gonna export 2 versions. Let's click export. Okay, it's gonna ask you where you want it. I'm gonna stick it on my desktop, Illustrator class files. I'm gonna make a folder in here called web export. And click choose. And off it goes. Let's see what we got. So in Finder, web export, cool. So let's go to icons. I've got two aliens, one's a PNG, one's an SVG. You might also want a JPEG. Say you're not sure, just put them all in there. Okay, I've got a crown. Okay, I've got my ninja and I've got my owl. Okay, so the naming came through from the asset panel and you can decide on what kinds of formats you want. All right, that is exporting for web from Adobe Illustrator. All right, I will see you in the next video.